Our opening words this morning are from Reverend Gretchen Haley. Every little thing that breaks your heart is welcome here. We'll make space for it, give it its due time and praise for the wanting it represents, the longing for something more, the healing hope that remains not yet. We promise no magic, no making it all better, but offer only this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, that sings and prays, though sometimes awkwardly, this gathering that loves, though not yet enough. We're still practicing, after all, still learning, still in need of partners, still becoming able to receive all of this beauty, all these gifts we bring each other. Come, let us worship together. And I invite us to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. I believe Michael will lead us in a round.
All right, group 1 from here over, group 2 from here to here, group 3 from there to there. We'll do one-time unison and then 3 times in a round. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come, group 1. Come, come, whoever you are, group 2. Group 3. Come, who you are. Okay, again. Again, come. Nice job.
And we will say together our shared covenant as Claire Barker and Pat Hamilton come forward to read our chalice lighting words, and as Ave Littlewood and Eleanor Arnie Sutherland come forward to light our chalice.
Where is it? Oh, right there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
And in Spanish, to honor our commitment with our sister city, Plazuelas, El Salvador. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Good morning. It's so great to be with you all this morning. My name is Rose. I serve as this congregation's religious educator, and I'm just so thrilled to be here. Look at this group of kids. How amazing. So this morning, we're going to be it's our very first time doing this ritual, but it's a pretty common ritual in other Unitarian Universalist communities. It's called a backpack blessing. So and after this, we're going to do our backpack blessing ritual. And then we have Children's Chapel. So we're going to go over, I'll take the kids along with Pat to go over to the parish hall, and we'll have our very first Children's Chapel of the year. So we all carry bags with us throughout the week for so many reasons. If you have a bag with you physically, and you want to have it blessed, and if you are thinking of a bag that you maybe left at home and you want to have it blessed, I'm going to be inviting you to come up closer. We're going to go through a few reasons why you might have said bag, and as we say them, start to come up and gather around us over here in whatever way is comfortable. Or if you want to stay in your seat, but again, have a bag that could use a blessing, feel free to hold it up in your seat.
So if this is true for you, feel free to come forward. Some of us take books or homework to school. Is that true for anyone here? Or lunches? Some of us bring our lunches to school or to work. Some of us take computers or other supplies to the places where we work. Some kids carry overnight bags from one parent's house to the other parent's house and back again.
Some people bring things like books or yarn or knitting needles to places where they might need to wait patiently. Some of us bring diapers and snacks to daycare, to the park. And some people even have special bags for their dogs or other animals to carry or be carried in. Great, okay, well, we have quite the crowd. It seems like a few of you use bags.
So I'm curious, are your bags already full of things? Yeah? Well, do you think that they could fit a little bit more? For this blessing, it doesn't actually matter if your bag is full or empty. We're going to put some extra things in, but it won't take up any weight and it won't add any space, or it won't take up any room, okay?
Would you like to have some of this congregation's love to take with you to school, to work, on your travels? If you feel love here on Sundays, wouldn't you like to know that our love is with you on those other days? Let's do just that. First, before you receive your tags, we're gonna bundle up some love, from wherever we might be storing it. So I'm carrying a little bit too much to bundle it, but maybe I tend to have love in my pockets or my back and my chest. I'm just sort of bundling it up, okay? You can do the same. Make a nice little pillow of love. Ready? And then those of you with bags, make sure that your bags are open. I'm gonna bundle my love, others might too. Are your bags open? Okay, I'm seeing lots of open bags. Okay, I hope I have enough love to go around. I think I do. Ready? I'm gonna start tossing it to you all. Ready? Ready?
Catch it, catch it. And if you have some love to throw out, why don't you do that too? If you have some love to throw out to the other people here, throw out some love, make sure you catch it in your bag. Okay, let's add some more things that we might need to our bag. Who here ever feels like they need courage out in the world? Does anyone here feel like they need courage? And does anyone feel like they might be able to lend some courage to somebody else sometimes? Yeah, okay. So let's pull out some courage. Let's bundle it up. Get your bags ready and go. All right, let's think of a few more things we might need. What might we need from this congregation when we go out into the world? Hope. One more thing. What else? Hope and confidence. Okay, if you have some hope or some confidence, would you bundle some up? Would you get it ready to throw to your fellow community members? Okay, if you got some hope or some confidence, ready, go. And make sure to catch it too. Catch the hope, catch the confidence. Okay, one or two more things. What else might you need out in the world? that this congregation can help you with? Kindness. What was it? Humor. Kindness and humor. All right, let's bundle those up. Let's pull those out for each other. Are you ready? Ready, go. And make sure to catch it. Kindness, some kindness coming your way, some humor coming your way. All right.
So with all of that kindness and humor and love and hope and confidence, with all that in there, your bag might not look or feel any different, but the next time you use your bag out in the world, I hope that you'll remember that we've added these blessings. I hope that you'll remember that the Spirit of life is with you at school or at work. This congregation cares about what happens to you at school or work. And if you need a little more love or courage or kindness or confidence, you can ask all of us for more. As a reminder of all of these things that we've put into our special bags, I have some blessing tags for you all. It says, "This backpack has been blessed by Theodore Parker Church." If you would like a keychain, whether you have a bag with you or not, feel free to, we'll do this somehow. Maybe we'll start on this side, go through, and then I'll get everyone over here.
Maybe I'll give them to folks on this side and have them go back to our seats down the middle.
Great plan.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you all so much. So grateful. Now I'm going to invite Michael to lead us in our children's benediction. And if I can tear you away from your backpack attaching situation, I'm going to invite any children who want to come over with me and Pat to Children's Chapel to join me over by that door. We're going to be, just a heads up for the parents, we're going to be in the basement in the RE space. These days, yay? Okay.
For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be.
So we are doing a couple of new things this morning. One of the other things that we are doing this morning is going to be commissioning our board. The work of leading a congregation does not fall to just one person. Each of us brings many gifts, and we come into community to share those gifts in service to a larger whole. So as we begin a new congregational year, we want to commission some of the elected leaders and bless them for their work ahead and charge them to serve on behalf of this community. So I'd like to invite the board members to join me up here at the front of the sanctuary. If you are on the board, would you join me up at the front of the sanctuary? So board members, this congregation has elected you to serve in leadership. And in this act, they have placed a sacred trust in you, that you will faithfully carry out your duties on the board. Board members, this year, will you strive to embody the mission and the values of this congregation as you make decisions? Yes. You're so ready. I had 3 questions, but this is great. Will you seek to act in ways that are worthy of the trust bestowed upon you in this role? If so, please say we will. And board members, this congregation has entrusted you to act on behalf of what is best for the whole congregation. Will you put the good of the whole before your own personal preferences? Will you listen to perspectives you disagree with? Will you hold this congregation and its people with compassion and loving care? If so, please say we will. We will. And congregation, this is the board that you have elected. Will you do your best to support these leaders that you have chosen? Will you empower them to make important and sometimes difficult decisions? Will you give them your trust, your gratitude, and your honesty? Will you share your feedback and your needs with kindness and compassion? If so, please say we will. We will. So I invite everyone to raise your hands in blessing, whether you're here in the sanctuary online, and send some good energy up here toward the board at the front of the room. Spirit of love and service, we lift up our gratitude for these leaders who give of their time, their wisdom, and their energy. In service to this congregation, may their leadership and their ministry to the congregation this year be a blessing to us all. May it be so, and amen. Thank you, board, for your service. And congregation, this is the board. We want to make sure that you're able to see and recognize and know who your elected leaders are. Thank you so much, board. Go ahead and be seated. And I invite us to remain seated as we transition into a space of contemplation and stillness and prayer. And join in singing our meditation hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are strive to make us free.
As we deepen into a space of meditation and prayer, I invite you to enter into this moment, here, now. Feel your seat beneath you. Take a few nurturing breaths and give yourself over to this time of stillness. This week, as our Jewish siblings and many Jewish Unitarian Universalists enter into the days of awe, we hear these words from Reverend Joanna Lubkin, this congregation's interim minister, in honor of Rosh Hashanah. This morning, in this loving spiritual community, let us turn inward. Let us turn inward with honesty and compassion, seeing clearly the places where we missed the mark in our relationships with family, partners, colleagues, with the divine, with ourselves. When we see those places when we weren't the people we want to be, let us not seek to escape responsibility for ourselves by blaming our upbringings, our society, our institutions for their failure to make us perfect. Let us see without judgment, but rather with a hope and possibility, for we know that we are free. We are free to choose 12 times a day how we react to life's challenges, and moment by moment, realign ourselves with our values and center ourselves in who we want to be. And seeing clearly and honestly, let us forgive ourselves and each other. Let us begin again in love. Let us now enter into several moments of shared silence, followed by a musical meditation.
Generosity is a spiritual practice in our Unitarian Universalist congregations. We give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remind ourselves that we are part of something larger than just ourselves. We give because we believe in music and in sacred space. We give with gratitude that all that we have been given and with the faith that together we have more than enough. Links to donate will be in the chat, and you can take a meditative moment writing out a check and sending it to the church after the service. Ushers will be coming around the sanctuary to collect an offering from those in the pews who wish to donate something more tangible. As Yukiko shares an excerpt from a Bach suite, an offering to sustain this congregation of memory and hope will be gratefully received. Thank you. This morning's reading is the poem The Call by James Cruz. We think of caterpillars as gladly munching bitter leaves, marching toward metamorphosis and obeying the silent inner command, which comes when it's time to spin the chrysalis, slip on the wings of that new life. Yet some decide to wait. They hear the call to change and simply say no. Too afraid of the days of darkness, the pain of a body turned inside out, liquefied to become another. Next year, they tell themselves, then inch on, unable to imagine the freedom of floating from one sweetness to another. Stopping on a stone in the middle of a raging river to drink and flex the wings they once thought a figment of some dream that would never come true.
Has anyone here ever truly, deeply considered the spiritual and philosophical conundrum of choosing to become a vampire? I had not really considered it either. Until about a year ago, I happened upon a podcast about it, and I am still a year and a half later thinking about it. Let me explain. I have never really consumed vampire media. But in this podcast, they talk about the choice in vampire fiction that humans sometimes face about whether or not to become a vampire. The podcast uses the example of the Twilight series, where Bella, a human, falls in love with Edward, a vampire, and she begs him to make her into a vampire too, so that they can be together living their immortal vampire lives happily ever after. I haven't actually read the book, so forgive me if I'm misrepresenting the details here. Edward repeatedly refuses because he's worried that Bella cannot fully understand what it will mean to become a vampire. Edward is worried that after Bella becomes a vampire, what she wants will change, that as a human, she can't really know what she's getting herself into. Philosopher and cognitive scientist L.A. Paul uses this vampire metaphor as a thought experiment to talk about what she calls transformative experiences. A transformative experience, Paul says, is an irreversible decision that fundamentally changes who we are and how we look at the world. Transformative experiences change our preferences, attitudes, values, and worldview. And I want to acknowledge that sometimes in life we go through transformative experiences that we do not choose, sometimes very painfully. But today I'm talking specifically about when we choose to go through experiences that have the potential to transform us. So Paul says that in order to make a decision to undergo a transformative experience, you have to make that decision without knowing what it will be like on the other side. Typically, in her work researching rational decision-making, Paul says one would weigh their values and preferences against a decision. And that's how one makes a rational decision. But in a transformative experience, you are stuck weighing, do I make this decision now, based on my values and preferences now, or do I make this decision based on a guess of what my values and preferences will be after this experience, which I can only really guess based on the reports of other people who have made the same decision? In a perhaps more realistic scenario than an encounter with a vampire, Paul uses the example of a religious conversion or of choosing to become a parent. Perhaps, she explains, you love going to fancy restaurants, and having kids will limit that. But it may also be true that once someone becomes a parent, their values and preferences will change, and they may value going to fancy restaurants less than they did prior to becoming a parent, thus begging the question, how much do I take into account my current love of going to fancy restaurants into the decision to have a child, knowing that if I were to become a parent, fancy restaurants might no longer hold the same value for me? The point is, she says, you can't know who you will be and how your values and preferences and perspectives will change until after you have gone through the transformative experience. So then how, she asks, how do people choose to go through transformative experiences? In some ways, she says, transformative experiences cannot be approached through rational choice. Ultimately, she suggests that we instead consider the value of revelation, the value of becoming a different person versus the value of remaining the same person. I've been thinking a lot about this as we consider this month's theme of welcome, because I've been thinking a lot about the ways that relationships change us. About how when we say yes to a relationship, when we welcome new people into our lives and into our communities, we can't know how we will be changed by being in relationship with them. In some ways, entering into new relationships is always a leap of faith. Paul's suggestion to consider the value of revelation resonates with me as a Unitarian Universalist, because we are a faith that believes, as 20th century Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams said, we believe that revelation is continuous, or as we sometimes like to say, that revelation is not sealed. This means that as Unitarian Universalists, we do not believe that truth has been captured once and for all in any scripture, immutable to new discoveries or new interpretations. Instead, as Unitarian Universalists, we believe that we are continually changing, always growing, always learning, that our understanding of the world and of truth and of meaning will grow and change and evolve, and that this belief in continuous revelation is what makes our faith a living tradition. What truth might be yet to be revealed to us? What transformative experiences might yet await us? I'm particularly thinking about what it might mean for communities to say yes to transformative experiences together. What would it look like for a church to say yes to a potentially transformative experience? And what might those experiences be for a congregation? I think of churches that have said yes to becoming welcoming congregations several decades ago, to supporting people in sanctuary, as this congregation has done, to resisting injustice together, like the pipeline fight here. I think about churches that have made concerted efforts to welcome younger families, integrate children into the congregation, to do the work of dismantling white supremacy culture in their institutions. And I wonder, for those churches, how did those experiences change them? And did they know who they would become when they embarked on the work? I think about these questions more broadly, too, because as many of you know, Unitarian Universalism as a denomination has been having conversations about how we can widen the circle of our faith tradition, how we can do more to welcome and center those who have been historically excluded from our faith or pushed to the margins. Since 2017, when a hiring decision at our denomination's national level prompted an intense period of reckoning with the ways that white supremacy culture has shaped our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism has, at large, renewed our efforts to widen the circle of concern, to center the voices of people whose voices have been historically pushed to the margins. And friends, I see our faith tradition changing because of it, transforming. And I have to say, I like who we are becoming. Because I believe that all of us are more free and more whole in a world and a faith that resists white supremacy, that understands that the costs of oppression do not just cost the people who are the targets of the oppression. Though the costs are different, we know that living under a system of oppression strips away the humanity of all of us, no matter what social location we might hold. And I am seeing this effort to widen our welcome, transform our faith, and I feel more spiritually whole because of this work. And I think, too, about us here, you who have just said yes to a new minister, and me, I have just said yes to a new congregation, and friends, without a doubt, my being here will change this congregation, and my serving this congregation will change me. And I trust and I pray and I hope that our relationship will change both of us in ways that we cherish over the years. But here at the start of this ministry together, we cannot say how we will be transformed or what our journey together will hold. It is a leap of faith on all of our parts to say, yes, we want to embark on this journey together, and we are willing to be changed by being in relationship with each other. It is a leap of faith to trust in revelation, the ongoing unfolding of our journeys, to decide that we want to meet who we might become because of the ways that we have welcomed one another into our lives. So friends, as we consider how we might welcome transformative experiences into our lives and into our community, I wonder, what would it be like to trust in who we are becoming? What would it be like, what would that trust, that saying yes, require of us? How can we trust in revelation, in the not knowing who we will be on the other side, but instead in the act of saying yes to discovering who we will be, if we let the relationship transform us, if we throw open the doors and offer a welcome to those who are not yet here, to those who we are just beginning to get to know. Because we know that there are people who need this community, and we need them too. How can we extend a welcome to people, to relationships, to experiences that might ultimately transform us? And do we want to know who we are on the other side? May it be so, and amen. I invite us to rise in body and spirit for our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you. Please be seated. We end with a few announcements and invitations. I'm just seeing if I updated this slide. I'm still getting used to all of the things that go into worship prep. We'll see. Well, whatever it says on the slide, here are the announcements and the invitations. Yep, I did not update the slides. Next week, I will update the slides. All right, so here's some announcements and some invitations. Please join us for coffee hour next door right after the service. You can go through these doors, and I will be in the parish hall saying hello today. And the reason is that we are having a book club today in the sanctuary right after service, and we're kind of moving it along quickly so that we can make space for a memorial service happening this afternoon. So it's a busy afternoon here at TPC. My request/invitation to all of you is to come next door in a fairly efficient manner so that the book group can set up so that they can have their time here. And I'll be next door. During coffee hour after church today, Carrie Turan is looking for volunteers to help with the welcoming committee activities. So greeters and ushers, coffee hour hosts, and welcoming table hosts. So please see Carrie. Carrie, can you give a wave for folks who may not know you? Please see Carrie in coffee hour to sign up. Another opportunity to sign up for things on October 13th through 16th, I believe, is the first ever Theodore Parker Congregational Retreat at Ferry Beach. Ferry Beach is a Unitarian Universalist conference center up in southern Maine, and we are going to be going there with the First Unitarian Society of Newton. Please take a look at the information in the weekly email and in the newsletter and in the TPC talk. And it's a great way to get to know new people, to connect with old friends, to just have some really quality time with this community. And you can talk to Carol Allen or Brandy Hopkins if you have more questions. I believe that's all that we have for invitations and announcements today. And we close. As we go forth, let us look to the ways that we are called to something new. A new relationship, a new experience, a new opportunity. Let us consider whether it may hold something that is yet to be revealed to us, whether it may hold some transformation we are longing for, whether we might be in a place to welcome it. May it be so, and amen.